this is top tackler, not body sitter.
No, so I've got three contenders because obviously with us only having the sort of one game, we're doing a bit of a end of a season review with some of these segments. So yeah, it's hit men of the year really, not hit man. So I've got a top three here. We've got number three, Jordan will be happy with this. Jared O'Connor for the Leeds Rhinos. Read some stats a couple of weeks back that he's top
Yeah,
tackler in
yeah,
the Super League all year.
yeah.
So he deserves to be on that list. I mean, he's not necessarily the most creative player, what I've seen of him, Jordan, but Jesus Christ, he'll tackle anything that moves, won't he?
Yeah, he's a good outfit player. He's swapping from second row to hooker, especially with like say that I know we're probably going to go on to this anyway, but with Akers not being playing and he's been picked as like the most the favourite sort of role for hooker. He's the tackling element of it as well. His defence is really good, but yeah, he's not as creative as probably we would like in a Rhinos team, but uh, definitely makes up for it.
What I would say is the stats don't lie, mate, over the course of 27
Oh
regular
no,
games to
yeah,
yeah, so he's number three. And number two, he's a bit of an enforcer, this guy. Plays for the Wigan Warriors, Cade Ellis. I mean, he's pretty much ever present for them every week. And when Wigan have to really get down to the nitty gritty of it, he's normally there, causing a bit of aggro, knocking a few bodies around. So I would say he's a bit of a tough man. So that's why I've named him number two. And my number one hitman of this season, Gaz will love probably agree with this because he's a Saints supporter. Is the Saints number 13, Morgan Knowles, again, ever present, puts himself about, absolute machine in terms of tackling and big shots and basically just running his blood to water. Uh, Probably Gaz's favourite player, isn't it, Gaz?
Yeah, I'm gutted that he's going, but at the same time, it's one of them where he's given us everything. He's won it all for us. He can leave with his head held high. He's done. He's been our most consistent player for the last 8 years, I think, potentially. So, with massive shoes to fill, and I'm terrified of what's going to happen. But what I mean, that's the game. Players can move on when they want.
I
But yeah,
definitely
that one of
agree
the
with that.
hardest workers in the game.
Yeah, without doubt, yeah. So Morgan Knowles is my number one hitman of the season. I would be absolutely shocked if he doesn't make it in the NRL. You see a lot of English guys go over there and they just don't quite cut it, do they? But I'm pretty sure he will be up there as one of the Dolphins' top players next couple of seasons. It's
Yeah.
probably a
Well,
no-brainer for the Dolphins as well because what I watch of them, they're just missing that little bit of size in the loose forward position,
yeah,
and he'll definitely give them that as well as work rate. Run his blood to water like we said earlier. So yeah, Morgan Knowles, sorry, he's my number one hitman of the season. Gaz, over to your team of the season.
yeah. Going to give honourable mentions first, and you're going to read these, and you go, "Oh bloody hell!" Bevan French, Harry Robertson, and Jay Field. Jordan's trying to smirk a little bit. I think he knows what's coming. Me full back, Lachie Miller.
Oh,
He's been crying for this since we started.
go on.
My wingers, I've gone with a blend of youth and experience. I've gone with Kyle Feld and Lewis Martin. Obviously, Lewis Martin, top scorer. Kyle Feld missed a lot of the season, but he's still up there in the tries. Um, Enemies on Saturday. My centres, Peter Icker and Jake Wardle. They speak for themselves, really, just like everyone else on the list. Um, by the fact that Bevan French has not made it, I think we know who's going to be number six, don't we? Mikey Lewis and number seven, Jake Connor.
Yeah, you can't argue with them too.
You can't, can you? They have to start. They have to
Yeah.
start for England, but you know what fucking fatheads like. Um,
Can I just cut you short? Can I
yeah.
just cut you short there? We're saying he has to be there, but Sean Wayne don't think Man of Steel matters. So what
Oh
do
well,
we
there you
know?
go. What do we know?
Which
We
is
just watch him at
another.
odd time. He's too busy
Yeah,
watching
that's
Wigan.
it. I can't wait till next week's pod.
I'm going to go off on that one. I'm saving it.
I hate the fact that you're delaying it.
Well, I'm letting it stew. I'm letting it bubble. It's cooking. Me props, I've gone with Herman Eziezi and Jared Warrior-Hargreaves. Both been massive hitters in the game. They've both had the problems, but it's what gets them places. And all Hull KR back row, Dean Adley and James Batchelor. I don't think we go on about like all the sense and that, but without those back rowers, I don't think KR get as far as they did. But the anchors in that team.
Fair point, yeah.
And I mean, loose forwards, Morgan Knowles. Oh, me
Very
hooker,
good.
Jez Litton. I missed me hooker out, yeah, Jez Litton.
Star player.
Start. Oh, fucking hell. Right.
Bearing in mind, Gazzy's sponsored by Morgan Knowles, I think I might know what it's going to be.
No, do you know what? As good as he's been, there is a couple of players who've performed better. And that's me taking my Saints hat off. I'm going Jez Litton.
Yeah.
I've been banging on about him for weeks now, and it's like, Joe,
Yeah,
what?
fair point.
I'm putting him there. He has been the most consistent number 9 in the entire
You know,
competition.
you were saying that about OKR probably not a bit far with Batchelor and Handley doing the same with Litton though. He's given so much in attack this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Well,
Strong
there you go.
team all around.
That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Well, off the back of that anyway. So we've got Jordan now with his try of the season.
Try of the season. Well, I've
Better
got
be good.
It better be good, yeah.
I've got two. So
If it's
I've
not,
got
if it's not Shane Wright, I'm falling out with you.
right, so I've got try of the season and then I've got try of the week. So obviously we've just had the grand final. So um, the try of the season is a biased one.
Of course it is.
Yep.
You can't be picking your own players again.
It's
I
got
just
to
start
be.
having this.
It's not common. It's try. Well, I'll do the try of the week first. Right, quick. The try of the week for me um, is the Jez Litton try in grand final. Thought that was fantastic. How he missed man out, and then flicked back into middle. Against KO.
You don't get a trophy for that, do you? You get a trophy for that.
You know what, right? That was a good game. That was a good game. We played at your place. Good game. That was the last. That was the try that did the game, and it was a very hard work try. I haven't seen Leeds play like that for a while. Like that, do or die. Passing, everyone seemed to be where they should be. Passing that line, obviously Edgill made that break. Passed inside to Connor into with Hanley, and then obviously Miller, top try. I just thought it was class, and it stuck in my head all season. I can't get it out of my head.
To be fair, mate, you missed the 3 forward passes that led to that try.
Oh.
Even after Trevor story, innit?
I'll let you into a little secret, right? So I have been to every game, home and away, apart from that particular game, because I was on holiday in Tenerife. So I was watching it on my phone on beach, right? And even on phone with a 6-inch screen, there was at least 2 of them 3 passes forward. And I said to my missus, I am not having that whatsoever. So I was expecting Lano to blow open in ever, and I was like, I think it was Lockie Miller that scored it. And I thought, am I seeing things here? I know I've had a few beers and yeah, but I get what you're saying in terms of the attacking flair and the speed of it all. It was a good try, but yeah, we'll just ignore the 2 forward passes, mate, because I like you.
Right. I'm gonna go there now. Right. He lost his head at the Benison try, which did touch the line, by the way. Thank you very much. And then he refused to give the winning try as try of the week there, and he can't even give it try of the season now. You've got a problem with us.
Did you actually say Benison try with a try?
Of course it was. I have to. It's my team, Ola.
Yeah. He kept quiet, didn't he, when I was ranting on about it? Now it's
I was letting you get on with it. It was one of them where I thought, do you know what? I'm just gonna keep quiet because I don't want to make things worse. I don't want to wind him up any further. Though. Just leave him alone.
Just to settle now. It's a few weeks back now, isn't it? I've
Yeah,
stopped crying about it.
it took you long
What are you
enough.
two? What are you two going to do in next week's pod when we discuss the England team? We're all going to have to be on the same page, aren't we?
Oh, it's different then. It's England, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, even looking at that squad, no matter which one of them pull that shirt on, I'm backing them.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So yeah, edit. Jordan's try of the season was Shane Wright against Leeds. No, I'm only joking. No, listen, it's your call. You pick whatever you want.
Exactly. Exactly.
I say
Oh.
Jordan's got his underrated players of the season.
Yeah, so my underrated players, I haven't got a piece of paper with me, so I'm having to try and remember
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
Can I just ask you, Jordan? I want some substance behind these 5 players.
Some substance.
Well, there's one I can
for
give
your
plenty of
select-
substance on.
Yeah, well,
Well-
I can understand one or two of them.
Well, obviously, number 5 is James Bell. I've just the games I've seen of him in Sage. I know he's obviously moving to Hull FC next season. I just think he's been really, really good for him this year. He's a good runner at ball. He's been about when they've done some good stuff in attack. Yeah, to be fair, very short description on him, really. Of what I've seen, I just think he needs a bit more mention. He's been good. Like I say, there's a few players in Saints team that have obviously shined through. Obviously, Morgan Knowles being number 1. I just think he's in there with Saints players that have got him to 5th spot. He's definitely been that part of that team that's got him there. So I've got that, and then
See,
number
just before you move
4.
on, Jordan,
Yeah.
what I can understand is if we're letting Morgan Knowles go, we've known that for months on end now. Why not keep him there? Because he was like rotating with Knowles.
Yeah.
He'd come on, do a stint, and cause some trouble. Why would we
Yeah.
let the pair of them go? If Knowles
Yeah,
is
yeah.
going, definitely, then why let him go as well? I just don't
no.
understand the logic there. Mike Rush needs to get out of our bastard club immediately. Telling you, just get him out.
Well, I'll be
I've had
honest. I weren't too sure with it, obviously, because with you being Saints fan, but I didn't know we could play loose. But I know presumably second rows do play loose.
Yeah,
as well,
he did a lot second row, but he did come on and rotate with Knowles if Knowles was going to prop or whatever, and he'd come on
I'll
and
say
put a different dynamic
just
into the position.
yeah, that just makes it even more. Like say
Yeah.
to name him, because if he's rotating with Knowles, then fair play to him. So and then I think I've done 4. Is it
Corey Hall.
Corey Hall? Yeah, Corey Hall. Corey Hall for Wakefield. I just think he's been great for Wakefield. There's a lot of like say players in that team that have contributed to getting them into playoffs. I just think he's one of those players for me that it's taken a while to kind of get going in like his career sort of thing. He's by the look of him, he doesn't look like he'd be a centre. But he's very nippy and yeah, he breaks through defence. I just think he's really good in that Wakefield attack. And I didn't think I'd say it. Hence the reason why he's an underrated start for the season for me. And then obviously I've got 3. I don't even know.
Ryan Brealey.
Ryan Brealey, yeah. Ryan Brealey. I think that's more for the fact of like the testament of the man. I mean, he's done everything for Salford. He probably needs a bit more mention than his credit and that he's probably got for. He's stood with them through thick and thin. And then obviously at the end he ended up getting sold to Oldham. I just think the guy's like, he did a decent try against Leeds as well. He's just been a tower for them. He's like I say, anytime they're losing every week, he will put a shirt on and he will give it 100%. So I can't fault him for that. And then obviously number 2, I've gone Declan Murphy. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Declan Murphy. Now for me, right, this were like the not the star of the underrated players, but Carlo probably confirmed with this one. But he had an outstanding game against Leeds. And, we were talking about it a few weeks back, the fact that he's 18 times Salford have changed the team round. And without all that going on, Declan Murphy, I'm pretty sure he's from Academy. And for me, you don't even get a sniff in that team if they're having that financial issues that they have. Sorry, if they didn't have the financial issues they had or having, he don't get in that team. So for me, he's putting on jerseys, number like 50 odd or something, and he's playing fullback. Absolutely teared Rhinos apart in as a fullback. And then what happened, Carl? Didn't you sign him?
Yeah, we've got him for the next 2 years.
For the next 2 years.
To be fair, mate, he hasn't seen a right lot of him. And the couple of times we've played Salford this season, no disrespect, but we've absolutely battered him, and he's hardly touched the ball. He looked quick. He looked athletic. Looks like he's got some good footwork at the line. So there's definitely a foundation to build from there. But yeah, it must have been hard for him this year.
Well, see, that's the thing for me as well. Like, when you talk about OKR, winning treble, and you're building for next year. Whether he gets a lot of game time next year, I don't know. Obviously, that's you'll say your point on that, whether he's good enough to beat team, etc. But the sign him, the OKR aren't signing someone a bad player, are they? Do you know what I mean? They've obviously seen talent in him, and they're progressing for next year, trying to make squad better, if that's the right word. You're obviously wanting to improve every time, even if he's a interchange in reserves or whatever. He's there, isn't he? So that's for me. The fact that you signed him as well just kind of cemented him for me. And the number one is Mark Sneyd, and the reason why I said Mark Sneyd is my number one is we can talk about the England squad all night. But he got signed to go to Warrington. And for me, as much as an under par season they've had, there's no credit going to George Williams at all. Mark Sneyd has done fantastic when he's put on a Warrington jersey. Arguably, Carl, in the Challenge Cup final, I thought he had you. He didn't do a couple of 40-20s.
You thought wrong, sir. You thought wrong.
I thought wrong. No, I did. But he, without obviously that last try he scored, I was looking at it, and obviously we're like, 5 minutes left at game. I'm looking at it, and I'm going, even as a neutral, I'm going, oh, I can't believe Mark Sneyd has just got that point, those points to make him win. He's just, for me, is the all article. His goal kicking's amazing. He's 40-20s. He can kick from anywhere. He's a player you build on. I understand he's aged. I think he's in his mid-30s maybe. I know he's probably not got a lot of time left in terms of like seasons, but for me, he hasn't changed. You know what I mean? We know he's not a very fast player. He's very smart. He's very similar to Sinfield for me. Like he's quite smart at game. He's quite clued up. He knows where to pinpoint his kicks. He doesn't very often play a bad game, to be honest. And for me, you build on that, and you build him for next year. And Warrington obviously have to do better next year. So for me, he's like the person that's at the front for Warrington team. So yeah, he's my number one.
It's mad with Mark Sneyd how it's took him to 35 to get him what you'd normally call a top four side.
Yeah.
Which it just absolutely baffles me. Right, you'd think he'd be like at a Wigan or a Leeds or a Saints or something at some point.
Yeah,
and it's like Brad Dwyer. It's another one. A class player, but he's just only now he's going to that Lee side.
Yeah,
and obviously, he came through at Warrington, but since then he's not really made that jump up to what you call a top four side. He has now.
Oh yeah,
Lee, but it's just mad.
I think a lot of it was Sneyd. It's just there's no question that he's at veteran status now, and his kicking game's always been phenomenal. it's just always been, the question's always been around his D, and it's his defence. His
Yeah.
number
Yeah.
one defence with incoming, players. But there's no doubt he's definitely talented, and I was surprised you put him as your number one actually, because I wouldn't say he was underrated. He's probably this year he's played behind a beaten pack for 80% of the games, hasn't he? That's the
Yeah.
difference when you're playing in the
Yeah.
Alps.
Yeah.
If you're playing behind a struggling pack, you're going to struggle to get upfield and make any really dent in the game. Sorry, so but yeah,
And
I
he's
can
st-
I
and
can
Joe,
see
what for
why.
me, I'd put him in that England squad ahead of George Williams.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I would. That's what I was going to say next. I would have had him over George Williams and Harry Smith. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest, I think that he's better than both of them. If you're honest, if you're honestly like thinking as well of like, we're probably not going to even get close to this. But say you're drawing with Australia and you've got last 5 minutes of game and you're going for a penalty. Mark Sneyd
All
for
day.
me. Yeah, he's not. He's probably. Let's be honest. He's probably one of the best goal kickers in Super League. He's the most consistent as well.
Unorthodox way of kicking, but it works.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so moving on from that, we got Carl with the news round.
Yep. So there's a couple of little bits. There's a couple of things that we've discussed in the last few weeks which have now been confirmed. But the first piece of news is what I've been watching very closely in terms of the London Broncos. They have signed Regan Campbell Gillard and Havili ahead of the 26th season. Havili he can play loose or hooker, and obviously Campbell Gillard he's a all-out prop. I believe he'll be named their captain. So again, Darren Lockyer, early stages for him, but he's attracting the big names so far. Next piece of news. I'm not sure if Gaz is happy with this or not, but St Helens confirmed that Paul Wellams and the club had left and sort of mutually agreed that at the end of his tether at the club. How many years has he been there as a player and a coach, guys? I mean, he's served them well, regardless of
He,
what's happened this
I
year.
think he made his debut 25 years ago as a player.
Yeah.
In regards to being happy or not, I mean, I don't. You hate to see someone who's been around the club that long leave, but is it the right time for to move him on from the head coach role? Yes. We need fresh ideas. Yeah, I've got no issue with him going. I just think it's the right time. I'm not
Well,
gonna sit
yeah,
here and slate him like a lot of people have, but in
no.
the day, what his coaching methods are like, it's just not worked. And maybe he's not had the right players around him. That's down to recruitment as well, so it's not all on him. But who's the first person to take the bullet to get coaching?
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, in any sport, if you've served a club for 25 years, in my opinion, you get some form of recognition.
Oh yeah.
It just ain't quite worked from this year. Is anybody in mind, Gaz, that stands out to you? Which will be running for the job? I mean, there's talks
Um,
of Breers, isn't they, stepping up and that type of thing?
I think Breers has never wanted to be a head coach. I think he's happy working in and around the playing group. Paul Rowley's the favourite by the looks of it, but there's also rumours of him being a director instead. There's Ben Hornby, the assistant at Rabbitohs. He's massively rumoured. David Farley as well, obviously an ex-Saints player from back in the day, a great overseas recruit. Well, again, he's coaching the referees. He's coaching the likes of Ashley Klein. So that's just a circus all in itself. So if being ideally, I would have Paul Rowley myself.
So I was going to say his role's your number one.
Yeah, but if you just get him involved in the club somehow, he'll do something.
Yeah.
Just get Mike Rush out, please.
Well, like you say, I think Wellens deserves a bit of credit. So fair play to him, and I'm sure you and a lot of the other St Helens supporters will thank him for his service. Bit of Leeds Rhinos news for you, Jordan, and I'm sure you'll be smiling like a Cheshire cat. Leeds Rhinos confirmed legend Danny Maguire will return to Headingley as the new Rugby League Impact and Growth Manager. I assume that's something to do with the academy and bringing the young uns through. Are you happy to see him back in some capacity?
I am, mate. Yeah, I am. I'm like a little bit disappointed in a sense of like I would have preferred to have him earlier. Uh, I think because I've watched some interviews with him, and he basically said that he didn't feel um, he didn't want the Castleford job, to be honest. He felt like he basically got an opportunity that he couldn't say no to. He didn't feel like it was the right time, but he took it anyway. And obviously, like he said, you don't want to regret not having it. So I understand that. Um, I've since the retirement of all the obviously the legends, I've always wanted the idea of having them all in the club together. Like Sinfield. Obviously, Jamie Jones is taking over from Gary Irvington. So, like Sinfield, Jamie Jones, Danny Maguire. Obviously, Rob Burrow would have been there. For me, having them all together, bringing those players through, and having just that aura of those legends in the team going forward, it bodes well for team and club. So, yeah, I'm buzzing. I think he's had to do it hard. Uh, like I say, he's it's almost like he's tarnished his um, coaching career before he's even started. So it's a bit that's a bit unfair on him, I suppose. Uh, but yeah, I'm buzzing. I am buzzing. Like I say, it can only bode well for Leeds.
Yeah, I think
I'm
Maguire at
sure.
Castleford, it's similar to Wellens with Saints, where obviously a different circumstance, but the first ever head coaching gig. And I think people sort of forget that a little bit. Like the first
Yeah.
time I actually took on a head coach role, which is obviously completely different to an assistant.
Well, it were told when he got taken the role of Castleford, it were like a project, probably similar to what Hockey is going to be doing with London Broncos. It weren't told because obviously I watched the interview. We weren't told it was like a one season thing, and that's what brought him into it. The fact that like he can build on it and sign the players he wants, get them kind of going, and it was great, wasn't it? KR. Um, he got. I'm pretty sure did Jez Litton praise him when he was talking in an interview.
I think Jez and Mikey have given him some big rap over the last couple of seasons. But yeah, we wish him well, mate. Is as you Rhinos supporters would say, at least he's back home.
Yeah.
Next piece of news: Lee Leopard's centre Daniel McIntosh signs for the Castleford Tigers. Castle have done this recently, last few weeks. Have announced signings, but no length of contracts. So I don't have no information in regards to that, but he'll definitely show them up. He brings the ball back well off the line. He's definitely add to their squad. The big Frenchman, Justin Sangaya, he signs for the York Knights for 2026. Again, it's another box ticked for York and their bid for Super League for next season. And just a couple of confirmed signings, which we've discussed in the last couple of weeks. Former St Helens winger John Bennison, he's now confirmed at York also. So again, another squad member for York. And former Leeds Rhinos hooker Andy Ackers, he's confirmed for Bradford now. So there was a few things we couldn't confirm last couple of weeks, but that's now confirmed those, etc. And that's pretty much it for news round this week. I'm sure there'll be a lot more out in the coming weeks, especially when the Ashes is finished and we know what's going on in terms of the season and fixtures are released, etc. Yeah, so that concludes news round. We said last week, didn't we, lads, in our WhatsApp group that was going to have a little nosy into each team and how we think they've done this season and where we think they'll be next season. So what I've done is I've made a bit of a list that we'll start from the bottom and then work us top to the treble winners. Wink, wink, nudge,
Oh, he
nudge.
has to keep getting that in, doesn't he? He just has to keep getting that in.
I've got to because it might happen for another 40 years.
Is it
So
the
Make
right?
the
yeah,
most of it while you can.
exactly, mate. Yeah. So sorry if I'm coming across cocky, but I can't help myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll start with the wounded animal, which is the Red Devils. I mean, I think this one pretty much speaks for itself, doesn't it, lads? I mean, they've had a horrendous season. Owners coming and going, and more squad numbers than bloody NFL bloody draft week, and all kinds of things going on with their club. But it's probably easy to say what has worked for them this year. I mean, they've had a torrid time, guys, haven't they? And I don't think anybody could expect any more from what they've actually, had throughout the
Yeah,
season.
I mean, like you say, you've had players like Justin Sangare, Ryan Brearley towards the end. These players who've stuck by Rowley himself, sticking by the club, and well, for the fans really, but what the fans have done. Obviously, we had Woody on here early doors. The passion they have for the club just says it speaks volumes for them, and especially when you see clubs like who are higher up the totem pole and the fans are walking out because they don't like a performance. Like, well, look, look, look at these basically. Um, I have seen a rumor that the current owners are ready to let it go to another consortium, but that remains to be seen.
I think I read a similar article yesterday. I mean, it looks like they're going to be in that Championship slash League One sort of format next year, don't they? I mean, they didn't apply for Super League again. I'm pretty sure that myself, you guys, and Jordan wish them all the best.
Oh
And
yeah, of course.
with supporters like Woody and the 1872 and all that type of stuff, I think maybe in 4 or 5 years' time they could be back where they belong in Super League, and we wish them all the best on that one. The next team up the ladder was Cast Tigers. Jordan, they had, would say, a struggling season, but looking at the signings they've made in recent weeks, there's definitely a bit of a rebuild on. So you'd expect them to be a bit better next season, would you?
Yeah, I don't know much of the coach. He's obviously an Aussie, isn't he? Probably what they needed, to be honest. I felt like they could have given Danny Maguire a season at least because they weren't firing all cylinders. You know, the new by obviously the problems with Red Devils, they weren't going to finish dead bottom. I felt like they had the season to kind of give Maguire that try, with them not going anywhere in playoffs, etc. But yeah, they're looking like they've signed well. And can I just state as well that the logo we were on about weeks and weeks ago, I'm warming to it. I
I
also think
actually like the shirt, to be fair.
the kit is mint.
Yeah,
I actually really do like the
I mean,
kit.
it reminds me of Burton Albion, but I like it still.
Yeah, I actually do think it looks smart. It does.
Well, I
But
think
yeah,
it's their thing into. I think it's their 100-year anniversary. So
yeah,
I think over the next between now and the new season started, I imagine there'll be some big promos getting flown around and various
Oh yeah,
training ranges and all that. So I
yeah,
suppose it's stuff for the cast fans to get excited about in terms of new signings and stuff off the field.
yeah. Like I say,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that there'll be a lot of them, not just obviously as we go through teams, we'll be probably saying it's almost like say they're on a relaunch. A lot of teams will be doing the same next year, I would have thought. Obviously, you'll say that as we're going through teams, but yeah, Cass obviously need a big season next year, so they've obviously changed the badge, kit's different. They bought some new players, new coach. They're obviously hoping for a big season next year, so hats off to them.
yeah. I
Hopefully
mean,
they
don't
will.
forget, they didn't put their thing in for the IMG, did they? For Super League. But I think because they know the situation with Salford, I
Can't
think
see
they're
him
probably going to be all
struggling.
right.
Yeah. I was just about to say as well, Gaz. People. Ryan Carr, the new coach, he is quite respected in Australia. He was at Featherstone for a while. He's been about a little bit, so he knows the player pool he can choose from, and he's obviously got connections. But in terms of their recruitment, Chris Chestel he's the main man for them. I mean, he did a sterling
Yeah,
job at leading. He was at Rovers for a couple of years as a player and as a rugby manager, so to speak. So I think a lot of what they're doing off the field is driven by Chris, and we obviously wish him all the best. Because, like we said last week, any team that's stronger makes our competition stronger, and it gives them, everybody a better product to watch. Next team on the list, Gaz, Huddersfield Giants struggled a little bit under Mr. Robinson, didn't they? I mean,
yeah.
where do they need to improve?
I think they finished like where they should have, to be honest. I mean, I know you got a couple of worse teams than them, but there was games where they turned up and like I think didn't they beat Warrington at some point? Beat
Yeah,
Warrington
fair
and
play to
Hull
them,
FC as well. No, I mean they beat some sides ahead of him, but yeah, it's a bang average season for him, wasn't it? Really?
yeah, it's a funny one that because we've got little sprinkles of half decent players where if they're built at like the likes of the lad at fullback, lad of Wes Scrump, I can't remember his name now.
So
His
Ashton
old man
Ashton
used to
Gilden is
play.
it?
No,
Oh,
Is it
he's
Ashton?
like his
No.
old man used to play for Bradford. Anyway,
Oh,
he's got
yeah. Adam Swift as
youngish
well.
kid. I can't remember. Yeah, they've got some strike there. They just need a
Oh,
bit of stability
George
in
Flanagan.
around. That's it, Flanagan. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
Flanagan. He's obviously a talented player, and like you say, they've got lads on the wing like Swift who can finish, and they've got a decent hooker there. And I just think if the sign 6 or 7, I know it's ifs, buts, and maybes, but if the sign 5, 6, 7 squad players, I think that'll improve them.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a full rebuild for them, but they definitely need improvement in a few areas, don't they?
Yeah.
You know.
I think I think the pack definitely needs to be sorted out. It's not the best, it's not
Yeah.
the youngest either, so they'll identify. I mean, it might take a couple of years to get above where they are, but I've got faith in it.
Yeah,
Especially going to
definitely.
the other ground as well, a smaller ground, which it'll look better on TV as well with look like there's more people in there.
It looks like they're crammed in a bit more, doesn't it? So, but again, their one with their chairman's been literally keeping them afloat for a number of years. So, but credit's got to go to him for that as well. There's a lot of them in and around that sort of area where they're just keeping the teams afloat and trying to progress them. So we wish them well. Next team, Jordan, Catalan Dragons. A few have gone, a few have come, a few have gone. Sorry. Obviously, a young coach in Joel Tompkins. He's looking to put his stamp on their team. I mean, this might sound a bit abrupt, but we can't do much worse than last year.
No, uh, for me, they're another team similar to Cass. They're another team that need a bit of a relaunch. Um, we know I've spoke about them a few weeks ago. We all know that usually they're in the playoffs. So they are for me. Catalans are the mix of all. I'm worried obviously, but they're in the mix of the bottom 4 or 5. They're probably in a fourth position. Uh, you expect usually most seasons Catalans are firing, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? They're good in attack. They've always done well with winners. Uh, they've always done well with like an Aussie halfback. They usually do put a lot of points past teams, to be honest. Yeah, I were a bit I were a bit confused when they got rid of McNamara, to be honest, considering what he's done for them since he's been there. I don't feel like it was a situation like Danny Maguire where they had to get rid of him. I'm still a bit confused with that decision, to be honest. But I don't know whether Joel Tompkins can take them next year. I don't know. I don't know whether they're maybe going to get new coaching. I'm not sure. Uh, that's obviously we'll find out in due course, won't we? But yeah, I don't realistically think that they need. And correct me if I'm wrong. Any signings really? I think they're just performance wise. They just haven't been up there, have they? They've just been a very mediocre team this year.
Do you know what, for me, when you talk about
I think,
signings for Catalan, I think that's been their problem for a long time now, where they're too quick to get rid of players and bring more players in, where they're not letting a team settle.
Yeah,
Like they're not had a
yeah, that's
settled
fair.
spine for a long. I mean, I know they've had McAlorum and Tompkins in the spine for a long time, but like the
Yeah,
halfbacks, they change halfbacks more than everything else change
yeah,
wide. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
madness.
They don't give players time, do they, to
No,
mature and
there's not letting them settle.
yeah, no, fair point. Yeah, yeah, good point though.
think I think the problem with them is that the splash out on the likes of your Luke Keary's and your Mitchell Pearce's last few years, and knowing full well that you're only going to get 1 or 2 seasons out of
Yeah,
them.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean
Sort
they're on the
sort of
third halfback now in probably as many years.
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You know,
I just
and
don't
that's
think
your key player.
There's no to build
I
on.
just don't think
Not
they've
to build
built.
on.
No, exactly. Yeah, they haven't built for the long term, have they? They've built for the
No.
short term. Now that
Yeah.
short term's come to an end, and Steve Mack's gone.
Yeah.
This is where I thought sort of struggled in the second half of the season. But yeah, I'm sure they'll improve. Bernard Gouache, he's a bit of a man who likes to put his mouth where his money where his mouth is. Sorry. So I'm sure that'll be yet to be seen. See how they go next season. For any Warrington fans listening, is it going to be your year next year? You'll say yes. I'll say no. Gaz will say no, and I'm pretty sure Jordan will say no. Again, seem to throw a bit of money around in terms of strike players and players coming to the end of the season, and that's ultimately what fails for them. They don't build. They don't build for the long term. Likes of Fitzgibbon come over, don't they? And Paul Vaughan's done a job, but not really little Super League. They're getting these key players at the wrong age, I'd say. I mean, I'm sure they'll all agree. Maybe I'm slating them a little bit there, but I'm sure they'll pretty all agree that they're really, really disappointed with the season how it ended.
Yeah.
What's your take on them, Gaz?
I thought when they signed Mark Sneyd, that would be the missing piece that they've been needing, that composure in the middle. I think if I'm going to be completely honest here now, I might get in trouble with Warrington fans or even Rabbitohs fans, but I think the problem has been Sam Burgess. I think it started well. They were turning up for him, but after a while, like he came out with Matt Duff death with the issues he's been having, and I think they stopped playing for him. I really do. I think it came out, didn't it, that he was going to go back to Australia, or he wanted to. I was like, well, what are you doing here then? Could be the attitude of the players, I don't know. So I don't think that's helped anything. How they beat us 3 times this season is beyond me. Why can't we have played them at back end of the season when they were garbage?
I think for me, I think there was at a point in the club's sort of history where they needed stability and build on stability, but they didn't. He come, Sam's, don't get me wrong, he's one of the best, locks about, especially in the NRL. But it doesn't necessarily mean because he was a good player, he was going to be a good coach. I think it's come across that way that everybody's expected that to happen, and that's not been the case. He's gone in there. I think he's flexed his muscles a little bit, and he's upset a few players. And like you say, I wouldn't say he's lost the dressing room. That's maybe a bit of an unfair reflection, but he's certainly lost certain players playing for him, and then players that he has fell out with in terms of Dufty, etc. I think they're the ones that he needed to be playing to get the results and the performances.
That's it. I mean, when Duffy's firing, he's unplayable.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. What's your take on Wyatt Jordan before we move on?
I think a lot of it circulated around George Williams. Him rumoured to go into Dolphins. I think that shook a lot of stuff in camp. I reckon, when you, especially according to Warrington fans, he'll be like your star man. He'll be like your Michael Lewis. He's your star man, isn't he? So he comes and signs back for Warrington. Coming back from NRL, and it's like I said, that won't do anyone good, will it? I think that's definitely made an issue. And then I just think Burgess it's just when we say, don't we, about some ex-players don't always make good coaches. I'm not saying he can't coach. I'm just saying that maybe Warrington were a bit of a big job for him. Maybe should have started someone. Maybe
again, his first head coaching job.
It's what?
It's his first head coaching job as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a big gig for a first coach, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, it's I think
just quickly before we go on, it's like when you compare him to Danny Maguire and you think of him coaching Castleford Tigers, you can't have that build with Warrington. You get Warrington job, it is almost like you've got to hit ground running, and you fail, you are kind of outdoors. So it's one of those. I'd be surprised if he stays, if I'm being honest. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, they're backing him at the minute, aren't they? Because they've said, they'll carry on backing him at the minute, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago. With the wire, I'm probably safe to say the key word is stability for him the next couple of seasons, and try and build and get back in that top four regular. So we'll part wire up. My beloved neighbours, Hull FC. To be fair to them, couldn't have played much worse this season as they did the season before.
Yeah, there's still a
Uh,
big improvement
I
from them,
might,
though,
I
I
might,
think.
yeah, there's still a lot to do, but
Yeah,
I
they've recruited well.
might start calling them St Helens second team because they've took a few of your boys, guys, haven't they?
Yeah, but I think with Joe Batchelor, because obviously his parents are still up in Hull, and obviously they're watching his brother James at Carter coming down for this, and I think he's based his move on that, to be honest,
Mm.
which does make sense for him.
Yeah, they're a work in progress, aren't they? I mean, like I say, they've got some good young players and they've got a bit of experience in there. Obvious thing to say, but I think if they keep Aidan Caesar fit and play everything in and around him, they get Price back on the field. That gives them a bit of flamboyance. One thing I will be interested to see is if Lewis Martin can go again next season in terms of his tries, his scoring. Because sometimes you see these players, top try scorer or you're up there in the top three or four try scorers, and then sometimes they fade away the following
Yeah,
season.
well,
So
look,
I'll
Greg
be
Eden for a
interested.
start.
Yeah, exactly,
Greg Eden's a big
exactly. I
one for that.
mean, there's players, there's supporters of Hull FC, and obviously I've got certain friends and family in the city that they've been shouting for him to play for England. Probably too early in his career. I don't. There's no question that he's got
Yeah,
talent and he can finish, obviously, but maybe England at the minute is too much for him. So I'd like to
I'll
see if he
agree with that.
can
It's the
sustain it.
same reason I leave I Robertson out because he's not quite ready for it. He's had one full season under his belt.
Yeah,
Let them both cook for another season and see how they are then.
definitely. If you was an Hull FC supporter, Jordan, which areas would you like to strengthen?
Um, well, they got Price, didn't they, through halfway through the
Yeah,
season. So I think they've got the like I say, I totally agree with Caesar. I think you've got Price and Caesar, you keep them fit. You've got your halfbacks sorted. That you're great. Obviously, they've signed prop, haven't they? Which I'm obviously still not over, but we move on. Yeah, the building, the building for like I say for next year. So I'm always in favour of teams doing that. Like it's one of those as well where it's like they're not living in the now. Like they should have had a good season this year as well as building for next year. But it's like if they flop again next year, it's like what do you do then? Do you know what I mean? It's like I said, I think Lewis Martin's played well. Hardaker's done well as well since he's come over. Um, I think, like I say, very similar to Catalans. They're a team that, like, they'll buy players. They're getting some good players for next year. I think it's more the performance. I think they've done a great job with bringing them back up to sort of, because they weren't Super League standard, well, that other year. So yeah, I think it's just more performance. I think they just need to play with each other next year and just kind of hit ground running and just dig in a little bit more in those big games.
definitely. Next team, Whitfield Trinity. I mean, everybody loves a side who throws the ball around, don't they? So I mean, they're probably shocked a lot of players, a lot of people, guys, in terms of where they finished and getting to the playoffs and all that type of thing. Because normally when you come back up from the championship, most clubs just want to sort of survive, don't they? And then build
Yeah,
build again the year after. But they've certainly threw a spanner in the works, so to speak, with some of the teams in and around the playoffs this year.
yeah. I mean, they recruited well. Obviously, bringing in Oliver Pratt from was it London Broncos. They brought Mike McMeekin in, who's earned himself an England call up after back of his season. So that tells you all you need to know, really. And
Yeah,
obviously,
definitely.
Max Jowett coming through, he's unbelievable. I'd put him in that English squad ahead of Jack Wellesby, if I'm honest.
Really, that is a big call.
Yeah,
Big call, mate. Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't say that. You definitely took your Saint hat off there. Uh,
I
my
just
only,
don't
my only
think
worry,
Wellesby's done enough, to be honest. He's too busy spitting his tongue
uh,
out half the time.
yeah, he's thrown his toys out his pram a few times this year, hasn't he? I mean, my only worry with Wakefield would be is that we know Darrell Powell. He has expansive teams and he likes to threaten the other
Oh,
opposing
Tom
lines
Johnson as well,
defence and all
sorry.
that. And yeah, I mean, we know what we'll get from Trinity and a Darrell Powell team. My only concern with that is if they come too one-dimensional, I think they've got to build their defence up a little bit in the next couple of
Yeah.
seasons. And I think that
They need
defence
to
will
keep
take them to the
Odolino as
next
well.
level.
Definitely need to keep
Oh yeah,
Odolino.
without a doubt, without a doubt. Yeah, so yeah, they're definitely progressing. They're in a good place on and off the field. Wakefield. Next team is your beloved Saints, Gaz. I think we touched on it earlier on, didn't we, in terms of
Yeah.
what they need to do and where they need to improve. Just a quick one on your team.
Yeah. We finished exactly where we belonged. I thought, I mean, you had the top four, then I think we were the best of the rest, which is obviously not the Saints standard, but there we are. Um, yeah, got to a
Yeah,
semi-final off the back of a bit of magic and some luck, if you ask Jordan. Face on him. But listen, they'll go against us, they go for us, don't they? You know what I mean? Everyone's the same. Um, I think is it, saw that, you little gobshite. Um, a lot of areas that we need to improve in. We need a prop who's still young but experienced to guide them through. Uh, keeping all the players like Ignatius Parsi, I think is a stupid idea because he's way past it now. Um, we need another halfback, even if George Whitby's in there still, especially if Lomax is going. We need someone to bleed him in a bit. Uh, and obviously the head coach needs to be sorted out pretty quickly soon as well.
yeah, definitely,
So
mate.
we finished exactly where we deserve to be.
Yeah, I mean, if they're finishing the same position again next season, would it be catastrophic for you, or was it be classed as work in progress with a new coach coming in?
Work in progress, especially if we're not just rebuilding the squad, but behind the scenes as well. Obviously, with the head coach going, James Roby's leaving his post at the club. There's talks of Mike Rush leaving as well, so it's a big rebuild behind the scenes as well. So it's going to take time. You know, I'm not expecting to win grand finals straight away. You know what I mean? We need to be in the mix, but I don't think we're going to get any further than we have this season. But I hope I'm
No,
wrong.
I think patience is needed the next couple of seasons, mate, especially if they get the right man in
Yeah.
terms of the
I
head
mean,
coach.
You asked
So
Jordan with Leeds as well. You know what I mean? Leeds have been through it all, like the rebuilds and new squads and all that. So you know exactly where I am at the minute.
Yeah.
that's that's it. So speaking of rhinos, then Jordan, we'll move on to your team in terms of how keeping it obviously brief. Would you say it's been a successful season in terms of where they're finishing, how they've played?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Obviously, not the end of the season that I or any Rhinos fan would have wanted, obviously. But taking that out, I think the season as a whole has been fantastic. I mean, we beat Saints, we beat your guys, we beat Wigan, we've beaten Lee, we've beaten basically everyone that's been with us in the table. So you can definitely say we've been in the mix of the teams. I, I obviously, we had troubles at the beginning of the season because I was crying out for Frawley to go because it just weren't cutting it for me. Um, and then obviously Connor got slotted in at halfback, taking a while to kind of get going. Uh, I just thought we're just fantastic this season. I really did. I mean, there were slumps, obviously, like most teams have, unless you're OKR. Um, we, you know, we've had some tough defeats. We've got some sporty results that could have gone either way as well. Um, yeah, just very successful season. I mean, considering we haven't made playoffs for a good few years, uh, and obviously securing Brad Arthur again for next year, I thought that will have bode as well. I just think, yeah, we've got a lot to build on, like, in the sense of we've got a good platform now. So, I don't think there's going to be any major signings because we've kind of got what we need. It's just be interesting to see what happens with um the Sivo because I haven't heard anything on him. I don't know whether he's going to be back in and playing as the other winger. Uh, I don't know whether um, Edgill or Riley Lum get pushed aside. I'm not too sure on that. So these are a bit of a shuffle, bit of a massive pre-season going into next season, seeing who gets in there and who doesn't, and if we've got any good signings coming over. I know we've rumoured to get in another Aussie in to replace Lissone. Don't know much on the guy, but it's quite a strong rumour. Um, yeah, I'd like to think we'd maybe get a replacement hooker for Ackers going. Yeah, that's probably about it, really. We in recruitment sense, I don't think we need a massive great deal. Uh, the pack's done really well this year. I didn't really. I thought that were something we needed to improve on this year, to be honest. And they've shocked me. They've done really well this year. Uh, I would say this is a big statement I'm going to make. I do believe if I put my Rhinos hat on, I think Rhinos will win a trophy next year.
You need to take your chaos off first.
Yeah, well, KR's that's um, I do feel Leeds could win a trophy next year. I'm going to just put it out there. If I'm wrong, laugh at me. I'm not bothered. I think we get in there, and I think we're very. I think if we'd have kept going, we'd have got that top two or at least third. Because I do feel we were better than Lee. Just before we started dipping a little bit, I thought we were slightly better than Lee. Um, Even if it were by a point or whichever, I do think we were just slightly better than Lee. I don't like say you might slate me for saying that, but uh, and obviously Wigan, whatever. But I feel like we're there. We are there. Uh, I think another good season next year in the mix. Um, if we can keep it playoffs, I won't put it past us doing something and a good Challenge Cup run as well. Even for you guys, I think that's a good chance for you to shock some teams. You know what I mean? Even if it's a Challenge Cup victory and it's one trophy and it's not Super League, it's getting you back on, in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they've had a very successful season in terms of where they've finished in the last 4 or 5 years. So I
Yeah,
think as an overall, they're definitely going in the right direction, aren't they?
yeah,
They've
So
been a team I've
yeah,
enjoyed
so
watching, to be honest. I've enjoyed watching Leeds.
yeah,
yeah. They've got the
I
love
think
back. They've got the love back for team. We've not been there. Like I say, we've had so many halfbacks, so many partnerships that haven't worked. A lot of partnerships that I were, crying out for that I thought would work, like your Luke Gale coming in and, with Caesar and Blake Austin. I thought they'd have been amazing together. Yeah, it's not a partnership I thought. I didn't think uh, Connor
Croft,
Connor
and
and Croft.
Croft and Connor.
Croft and Connor would have worked, I'll be honest. Um, but they both work well with each other, and they're a big part of the success this season. So yeah, hopefully it can go on for next year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll go from strength to strength there. A quick mention on the Lee Leopards, guys. I mean, they're normally in the playoffs, aren't they? In and around, on the day they can beat anyone in the league. They just sort of fell short, didn't they? In semi against Wigan, sorry. So I mean, they'll be there or thereabouts again, won't they? Surely next year.
Yeah, I mean, is when they came up and they were playing well and they got into the playoffs and they got to that Challenge Cup final, and I was saying it's all well and good having a good season, but great teams will stay there, and they're doing exactly that. To whether it's for better or worse with the way Derek Beaumont goes on, but I think what he's done with the club has worked. He just needs to be quiet sometimes. But yeah, it's credit to Adrian Lamb and the playing group as well, and the coaching staff. They've done really well against where they are and staying there.
Think they've definitely got some quality players, and they've got some quality players for extended contracts now. So obviously they're looking for 2, 3, 4 years ahead rather than just next season. So they'll be in and about again. I'd imagine the playoffs and in semi-finals, etc. The Wigan Warriors, obviously, we turned them over in the grand final, but you just know they're going to be there or thereabouts next year. The academy's strong. They've got quality strike and quality players throughout the team. I mean, my question is to you, Jordan, with Wigan is the quadruple last year. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh here, and I'm sure Wigan fans maybe think the same. Is this season class as unsuccessful for them for the reasons I've just stated?
Yeah,
I think it'll be an hard for every Wigan fan. It'll be an hard pill to swallow. 100%. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If you take away the World Cup challenge for a minute, because obviously that's till next year, isn't it now? But in the calendar year, you've had three, you've taken three away. I think some would see it as a failure, but it's also one of those things where, and I've said this, I'm such a strong advocate on this, and when you're on top, right, when you've won everything and you're on top, the maintaining side of things
it's
is
hard to stay there.
so much harder to stay there, yeah, because every team wants to beat you. And unfortunately, KR will be the team next year where the likes of your Rhinos, your St Helens, even your Warrington, your Lee, will be wanting to do you over now. So like when you think like, oh, Wigan dominated last year, we need to get up to top of Wigan, we need to be better than Bevan French, we need to get on board, we need to beat them. That won't be probably the case next year. It's going to be right. We need to be better than KR. Right, we need to take Mikey Lewis out of the team, etc. Wigan have got the team on paper. They probably have got the best side on paper. It's one of those. It's one of those. It would have flipped a coin for me in that grand final before the ball kicked off. It would have flipped the coin. Who we thought would win that. It's been very tight. Like I say, in terms of you and KR and Wigan, being very tight with squad. Like I say, when you think of man for man, it is quite close with who's better than who in a sense. I just think like I don't think it's an hard one. It's an hard one for me. It's an hard one. Yeah, maybe a failure, but
Do you know what? I think that's another reason why Matty Pete made a point of going to the KR fans and players after that final. Not only did they win the grand final, they took everything off him.
Yeah,
and he's gone. That is the time we need to beat next season. So go and give him some
fault
respect.
it though. You can't fault it,
can't.
can you? Do you know what I mean? It's
I think the Wigan Warriors will use that as motivation next season.
Yeah.
I mean, the coaches always state and stipulate that in interviews that we only concentrate on ourselves and our own club and our own structures, etc. But I think he genuinely will make that a motivation for them because he will keep rewinding that feeling of losing that game on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure, like I say, he'll use that as motivation for them. But certainly.
If you think about it though, Carl, when you realistically, right? So the Challenge Cup final, Wigan weren't there, were they? So you played Warrington. So if you want to think of it that way, they failed to get to final. League table, they were behind you all season, and then obviously grand final, they were in the final. So apart from the Challenge Cup, they've been there trying to retain their trophy. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like it's a million miles away. Like they drop forfeit table. They actually to say they wanted to maintain the grand final trophy, they were in the final. Do you know what I mean? So they were there. They were just not the better team. Basically, just exactly like you were 12 months ago. You were Wigan 12 months ago.
Very
If you're
small
gonna put
margins come to mind.
if you're going to put in, like, say, boxing terms, look at, I don't know if there's any boxing fans listening to this, but anyone who will know the Calzaghe and Eubank fights when he beats him, and it's one of them where this new kid has come through
Yeah.
against the conquering fucking greatest ever, whatever, and they've just been landing these little like counter punches every time, staying ahead
Yeah.
on points, and then grand
Yeah.
final, the knockout blow, and that was it.
But we all know Wigan Warriors have been the benchmark for the last 3 or 4 seasons, and they'll continue to be. They've got a good chairman in Radlinski, a good academy, etc. So no doubt they'll be in the top 2 again next year. I'm pretty sure of that. Last team and the treble winners, OKR. Obviously, you know my thoughts on it. I'll just have a quick overview from yourself, Gaz. 40 years for a trophy, 3 come at once. It's like waiting for the bloody bus, innit? Surely.
Yeah. If I can sum up the KR season in one word, it's consistent. That's the reason why they stayed top. The reason they got to the grand final is consistency. So, it's one of them where you sort of think, oh, new threat. You know what I mean? We've seen this before with Salford, Catalan, Warrington, Huddersfield, Castleford, and all that. Even Lee as well, who's stayed there as well. But you've brought down that barrier and not just took a grand final, but a treble, which only the 5th team to do it in Super League era. So what we'll do.
Like I say,
well done. That's not patronising. That's genuine.
Jordan, you can put your Rovers shirt on now, mate.
He's never took it off. Look at him.
I know. Yeah, I'm biased, so I'm absolutely over the moon. I'm gonna absolutely soak it up as much as I possibly can for the next, until the pre-season.
Yeah.
Then we'll go to Vegas to play Jordan's Rhinos, so that'll be my next away day probably. Can't wait for that. So that concludes the review of each club this season. As an overall of that, I'm pretty certain next year that the competition will be a lot stronger and benefit for that. There's a lot of clubs doing a lot of good business on and off the field. Obviously, we'll have these extra 3 teams, which it's looking like now. There'll be some more information on that released at the end of this week. So I've read. Just a couple of small thank yous. I mean, we all come on here and other people on social media and all rugby forums, etc. We all come on, we all complain about referees, Jordan, don't we? Especially you. But I think what we must do is appreciate what they do for the game, because without them referees, we have no game. And that's the same at all levels, whether it's grassroots or it's League One or, you know what I mean, Championship. So I'd like to congratulate the referees from the Super League, which are as follows: Liam Moore, Chris Kendall, Jack Smith, Tom Grant, Aaron Moore, Marcus Griffiths, Liam Rush, James Vella, Matt Lynn, Tara Jones, which is the first and only female referee in the Super League, I believe, Scott Mikulauskis, and Cameron Wesley. Like I say, they're just the full-time Super League officials. There's a lot more in the leagues below, but we take our caps off to you all, and we appreciate you officiating for this season. We'll look forward to seeing you all in 2026 for another successful season.
Well, maybe not
Gaz, a bit
1
of
or 2,
news
but
on. I'm trying to be generous here.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
So a bit of news from you, Gaz, to see us out.
Yeah. So next week is a Ashes special as we go into the first game at Wembley. Big thank you to everyone who listens and supports. Keep liking, commenting, and subscribing. Massive thank you to our sponsor, Acorn Joinery Leeds. And remember that the podcast is for the fans, by the fans.